Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Houston Live and Local, 2 p.m. Central Time. Two big stories that we're following for you today. First, the numbers that you're looking at right there. We are keeping a close eye on the market as trading day gets closer to a close. Right now, we're down by 419 points, and we'll be keeping an eye on that. Also, Tom Ziska going to be bringing us a report coming up at 5 p.m. on Fox 26 News at 5. The other big story that we're following for you, the reason we are wearing red today, whose house? Cougs' house. That's what everybody's saying. Let's shift gears to that big game that's happening tonight. We're talking about the Cougars taking on Florida Gators in tonight's NCAA Championship game. We actually have a live look right now at the San Antonio skyline. I think is this it? It's very nice. And you got a little blimp. We got two blimps right here. Very cool. A lot happening here. They're going to see a Cougs win. That's what we predict here. Co-anchor Anthony Antoine, who we'll hear from a little bit later. But first, let's get to sports director Will Kunkel.
So if Houston completes this run at a national championship, they will have completed the toughest path through the NCAA tournament possible. They beat a 16-seed SIUE, 8-seed Gonzaga, 4-seed Purdue, 2-seed Tennessee, a 1 in Duke, and a 1 in Florida. So how do you do that? You do it on your terms. You punch first. They did that to Tennessee, and they never looked back. They did it throughout the entire tournament as well, and they look to do that against Florida. But with that being said, Florida is not scared. They are not running from this fight. In fact, they view this as a battle, and if they win this battle, they win the war.
This is a war. You don't run from war. You know, in war, you either get killed or be killed. So no matter what they throw at us, we're just going to go out there and, do what we have been doing all the course of the season. So we're not running from no war. We're going to out there to fight because it's war. If you run from war, then why are you there in the first place? So you see people sign up for military, they know what it takes. So we're going in there to play hard and give it all, do what we have done all the course of the season. So, it's a war, and war it is.
We fight, and that's really the culture is toughness. Every day in practice, we're clawing, scraping at each other. Even worse than how we play in the games. Everybody's always talking about how rough Houston plays. Like, you guys should see our practices. Like, it's really crazy. That's who we are, and we're not running from it. We embrace that. We don't care what other people have to say about how we play. Whether they like or don't like it. It's gotten us to a national championship. If it's not broken, why fix it?
So not only has Houston taken the toughest route throughout the NCAA possible, they've done it against 3 All-Americans: Braden Smith out of Purdue, Cooper Flagg at Duke, and now Walter Clayton Jr. of Florida. It can't get any tougher than that. So with him, they've got to still play their game.
Yeah, no, they're a good team. They got 3 really good guards. They got some good bigs down there who are really, really physical, really go get offensive rebounds, and they really push the pace. So, it'll be a challenge for us to make sure we limit their transition points. But, I think we'll be fine, man. We stick to what we do, we'll be fine.
Coach Sampson always say, when you get in the moment of March Madness and you have a chance to kill your opponent, you got to take them away. But it ain't going to be easy. And I feel like we just have to rely on our defense and knowing that, it's the last game of the season. Like, the mistakes that you made in the previous game, you can't do it tomorrow. Because one little slip-up could turn into an 8-0 run that quick. And in no time it'll be a tie game, or you're down by 4. And when the other team has momentum and you're trying to come back, it's probably going to be hard for you to get back. So I feel like just going into this game tomorrow, just relying on our defense, and just trying our hardest to limit them to one shot, knowing they're an offensive rebounding team, and just limit Clayton to a lot of hard contested jump shots too.
They're a great team. They're in the national championship. Bad teams don't get to the national championship. They got a lot of guys, a lot of guards that can create. And then, they're a great offensive rebounding team, tough, just like us. So, it'll be a dogfight.
Now, to be fair to Houston, they have a pretty good player on their hands as well. L.J. Cryer has played 172 minutes in this tournament. He's turned the ball over twice. It should be one. One bad call led to the second turnover. Now, if Houston wins, it will be Kelvin Sampson's 800th win, his first national championship, and the first national championship in Houston's history as well, guys.
You get chills. So much pressure is on. All right, so Will Kunkel isn't the only one that is over at the Alamo City. We have my co-anchor, Anthony Antoine, who's been talking with fans.
Good morning, everyone. We are here in San Antonio this morning, where you can see right over my shoulder, we've got the team bus. This is going to be the bus that's going to take the team over to the Alamo Dome, that short drive where they will play Florida for the national championship. Now, this is going to be a huge opportunity here for the Cougs. This is the first time they'll be back in the national championship game since 1984, and they are looking for a very different outcome this your way over here to enjoy the game, please do so, because you see how hard the guys are playing. Just look at that Duke game, for example. They were down 14 points. In the last 33 seconds, they were down 9, but they overcame, and here we are today to advance to the national championship game. So again, the Cougs, they'll be playing tonight at 7:50 is when the game starts against Florida, but I did get a chance to record some pretty cool video from the game against Duke. Take a look at some of the highlights of my favorite moments.
Go Houston, baby! Coming back on Monday. Go Cougs! Tonight is your night, and we're gonna win. Go Cougs, baby!
Unbelievable. We're usually on the other end of that. I've seen us lose heartbreakers time after the Final Four. So yeah, this was unbelievable and great.
What's up? Let's go! Coach, we're here for you, man. You built this program back. We're going to win tonight. We're going to see you in here Monday night. Go Cougs!
And again, there's going to be a send-off party here. This is the team hotel here at the Marriott. It's going to be a huge send-off here where fans are going to be sending the team. They're going to board the bus and then head over to the Alamo Dome again. Tip-off 7:50. Listen, it's not too late to hop in the car and get down here to San Antonio. This will be the first time a Texas team will be playing in Texas for a chance to win a national championship. So let's show some support, you guys. Go Cougs!
All right. We also have to take a moment to see that the fact that some of the video was shaking because Anthony was just so excited as well. He is having a great time. You know, he said he saw a lot more blue than red. Well, we have a U of H grad that is on his way over there. We are talking about our very own former sports director for Fox 26, Mark Berman. He's not only knows, obviously, the sports, he's a U of H alum, and we caught up with him today right before he was heading over to the game tonight.
Been around the program, or first as a student, 4 decades ago, been to most of all the playoff games as a reporter, but to see them get back to the Final Four is crazy good. It's I'm going for the first time in a situation like this as a fan, which is what I am. And I wasn't planning on going, but a buddy of mine came up with a ticket, and I was able to get a room down there. So I'm leaving in a little while, and I'm pretty fired up. It's amazing to see where this program is from where it was when Kelvin Sampson took over, because I promise you, they didn't have 1 foot in the grave. They had 2. It's almost like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that they're in the Final Four and they're in San Antonio. Of course, with Kelvin Sampson as your head coach, you really can't call it a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. They've already been twice. They might go again and again and again. With his program as good as it is, it just won't be in Texas. So the stars have aligned just right. It's an amazing opportunity for the program and for fans like myself. Florida's a very good team, or they wouldn't be where they're at right now. I think if it came down to coaching, Kelvin Sampson's might be the best coach in the country, and probably is the best coach in the country in college basketball. And if it comes down to that, I think the Cougars will win. Obviously, they got to play they got to bring their A game. But what I was alluding to was when Kelvin took over in 2014. I remember standing out in front of the athletic facility on campus there. He only had about 5 guys on scholarship, and 3 of them weren't much better than me. And I couldn't make my own high school team. That tells you how bad they were. So he took a program that was dead in the water, and here they are. They didn't just get good; they've been good for a while. And I don't have the knowledge of all sports and all teams, but it's got to be one of the great building jobs ever in sports. When you consider where University of Houston was, the facilities, the lack of commitment at the time, lack of talent, lack of everything. And here they are, about to be on top of the basketball world, where they are on top of the basketball world. I just remember covering the Phi Slamma Jamma era and what that was like back then. In '83, when they lost to NC State, bitter upset. They shouldn't have lost, but and I remember just giving you some history. When they lost, they brought Guy Lewis and Clyde Drexler and Akeem Olajuwon to the podium, and the national media, all they wanted to do was talk to Jim Valvano, who went running around the court for NC State going crazy. And they only asked the UH guys a couple of questions. They left. We had, at the time I was working in radio, we had nothing to work with. I remember going over to the hotel and getting up on the team floor, and the security was about to run me off. And Michael Young, one of the great players from that era, poked his head out the door, waved me into his room. Clyde Drexler was in there. They went and got Reed Geddes. And all of a sudden, I went from having nothing to having everything. Those are the kind of memories I have of covering this team for 4+ decades. My parents went there. I went there. My daughter went there. My son's in the midst of going there. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is so neat to hear his perspective there. That was Mark Berman, former sports director for Fox 26. So hopefully we'll get to hear from him later after that Cougs win. There's so many students that are making that trip over to San Antonio from Houston to see the Cougs win. They are so excited. Listen to some of them.
No.
Let's start with you, Lorenzo. How did it feel to be in the building? I know it was electrifying seeing all of this happening over the weekend. How did that feel?
It was just incredible. It's hard to find words to describe just how big everything felt. Everybody was just jumping up and down, screaming. I didn't even know the guy next to me when the game started, but as soon as the clock ran out, we were just hugging like we've been best friends for life. It was just such an amazing experience to be a part of, and I can't wait to experience it one more time tonight.
That is awesome.
Lyle, let me hear from you here this morning. What were your thoughts in the first half when they were trailing at first? And I know a lot of people were worried. Were they going to pull this off? Were you worried, or you just knew?
Oh no, I was worried. It did not look good, to be honest. Like they were really bringing it to us, but I know we always fight. We're a hard-nosed team. We always stick to it. We always try our best. We always fight. And I was still very nervous, to be fair. And luckily we pulled through in the end, and it was absolutely incredible.
Okay, so how are you feeling going into the evening?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. Like, especially after that come from behind win, like on Saturday, I feel like we can persevere through anything at this point. We're ready for anything. We've seen everything. We've been through everything. We're ready.
I'm wondering. Let me ask Kushi. What does it mean to you? Like to have, I mean, is it pride? Is it excitement? Is it camaraderie? Like, what does it really mean to you to see your team doing so well?
I think that it's everything you said. Camaraderie, especially the example we just had. We are staying in San Antonio together, but I did not meet these people for more than 3 weeks ago. I did not know them. So we got here, we completely bonded over this trip, over these games, and that's happened to me this entire season. Every home game, I've met someone, and we bonded over our team being one of the best, if not the best, and we'll prove it tonight. But I also think last night we had a pep rally. Jim Nance introduced us to college basketball greats from Houston, and just seeing their determination to see us win tonight, that's really bringing everything together. It's very prideful tonight here.
That's awesome.
Texas, knowing that your team, your school, just happens to be in the championship down the street from where you go to school at, how remarkable is that? Because it really could be anywhere else in a place where it would be harder to get, especially as a college student in the middle of the week.
You know, I think it's great that they're playing here in Texas. It's considering it's literally like right down the street, 2 hours away. As a college student, it means a lot because we'll be able to win it here in Texas. You know, we want to win in Texas, and it means everything to not just the students, but to the whole city. You know, it's all about culture.
All right. Well, we are going to be cheering them on. And coming up, we have some good advice about watching the stock market in these uncertain times. Okay, cool. All right, thanks. Since I'll be out there and I don't have IFB, will someone just cue me when we're about to go? Okay.
Invest in if they still want to, and obviously you can't just specifically say, but what should people be considering if they want to still invest their money right now or eventually want to make their money back?
Right, and of course, as you mentioned, the caveat is I can't give investment advice or market advice beyond just the general speculatives, because you want to consult with your own personal financial advisor on that, and they've got a lot in Houston. But within that, you want to look at some of these safer areas. Long-term treasuries are usually a pretty good bet. Additionally, gold is a pretty safe one. Even when it drops, it's usually rising. So you might say, oh, gold dropped 7%. Yeah, but it rose 9% before that. So in that sense, you've still gained 2%. CDs are a pretty stable one when you look at sort of confirmed rates of return. But again, it really depends on your stage of life, when you plan on retiring, what your financial assets are. I mean, it's a great idea to invest, but not if you have $10,000 in credit card debt, right? That 29% is not going to be offset by a 5, 10, or even 20% market gain. Of course, cryptocurrency was set to be a big winner at the beginning of the year, and it's even dropped value. But when you think about how things like Bitcoin, Dogecoin have risen from $1 to Bitcoin going over $100,000, even if it drops to 77,000, what is the percentage? I mean, you had to have a calculator to think of the percentage gain on when it jumped from $1 or even $500 coin.
And I'm looking, we have quite a few viewers who have been looking to buy a home, and now they're concerned and wondering if they should wait a while. What is your suggestion for that?
Right. If you're already in the process, I think it's better to continue, because at this point, also the Fed is now getting a lot of pressure to lower interest rates. They were not for that, but as they consider lowering the interest rates, that could help those potential people with mortgage rates, and you might see additional people enter the market with favorable interest rates and lower credit scores that increase competition. The challenge is, if you're not ready or if you're concerned about your job, if you buy a home, then you're setting a mortgage. You can't downsize to a smaller apartment. You can't move back in with your parents necessarily. And if there's a recession, you're not going to be able to sublet that or Airbnb it in the same way that you might have in the past.
Another question. This just came in actually. I have a high yield savings account that is earning nothing. Should I move to a high yield account? Will this account produce a difference?
Right. I don't know how you're not earning with the interest rates right now. I don't know how you're not earning in a high yield savings. You should be earning some percentage. So I would check with your bank or the entity that you are sort of holding those accounts to make sure there's not some error. There should be some gains because of the Fed's raise of these basis points over the past year. But if you're not getting that, definitely move to a high yield, because that's going to be an area where if you don't need access to those funds, it allows it to gain further. The challenge too, and that's when you say, do I move this into maybe a little more volatile market while the stock is down, because we know that some of these stocks have to come back up just because of credit. You know, a lot of these with the S&P and the Dow, they have to go back up at some point.
That's the biggest thing that we're hearing from our viewers, is asking, you know, they're trying not to panic. They're talking to their financial advisors. They don't know to go with their gut or to go with what their financial advisors to say. Do they sell off, and then that makes things worse. Like, people just don't know what to do right now.
Absolutely. If you need access to that cash, if you're a 72-year-old person who relies on your 401k drawdowns each month to finance your retirement, then you just might want to be more conservative in what you withdraw. But the idea of some of these stocks, now some, again, tech stocks, they're more volatile than others. But others, when you think about Coca-Cola, that's one that if they don't make money on Coke, if there are, as Mexico's instituted certain sugar policies, and you say, oh, the international market will constrict for that stock, they also have water. When you think about craft brands, you say, well, what about cigarettes? Well, they have cheese. Everybody likes string cheese, so lactose intolerant people accept it. So in that sense, with this diversified market, a lot of these companies will either absorb, they'll merge, which we've seen attempts to, and this may be a more favorable market for certain airlines to see their mergers approved by the FTC, where they might have been previously denied. Those stocks have to come up. People will have to fly, even with the pandemic, and we reduced business travel substantially. Airlines found a way to bounce back. They modified their business models. They shrank the seats a little bit, so you and I especially will know with our knees and our chins. And they started making money again.
Yeah. All right. Professor, we always appreciate you and your expertise. We've seen a lot of you here in the past week, and I'm sure that will continue here as
a lot more questions for you for sure. Professor
Absolutely.
Biedenfeld, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back. We are here in the Weather Center at Fox 26, and right behind me, the temperatures for today. It looks like it's fall weather here in Houston. A little too cold if you were to ask me, but let's go ahead and head over to meteorologist John Dawson, who is in for Ramisha Shea today. Welcome. Whoa. What are we?
We're like all in rah basketball
mode,
right?
Okay, I didn't know what you were doing.
Oh, I don't. It's just.
Wow, this is a nice.
It has wheels on it. Careful.
Yes. Okay. So, is this your first time on a live and local show?
Oh no.
Oh, we've done this many times.
I've done one of the premiere ones. Maybe it was like not ready for like live TV.
Oh, it was one of our
Anthony and I.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if he has a tripod like you do that looks this professional.
Well, I really like the tripod situation because for me, viewing experience is better. But
Do you have a microphone on?
No.
Am I supposed
picking
to?
up right here.
Okay.
Yes.
I just have to talk louder.
No, we don't really have. Let's talk about the weather, because what was happening this weekend, crazy. I'm not talking about the rain so much as the drop in temperatures.
Cold front.
Yes.
So the cold front brought the rain, first of all. Some folks seeing more rain than others. We were talking about that in the 1:30 meeting, that like some folks got sprinkles, and that's it. And then
Yes.
others got deluges and some gusty winds, but no severe weather. That's we're very glad that we didn't have this severe weather.
Yes.
And then, so yeah, I was babysitting the radar pretty much all day on Saturday. It was a storm alert day because we were concerned with the storms. And then, again, cold front. And this is, again, for April, normally we say cold fronts, and you're like, oh, well, the temperatures aren't going to do anything, right?
Right. No, this was definitely
No,
temperatures doing
this
things.
one,
Yes.
this one did a lot of things,
Yes.
right? So it was fun. Yeah, Sunday morning, waking up porch. It was chilly out there just
Yes,
a little bit. Breezy.
You know what my daughter did say? She said, "Mommy, can we put on Christmas music?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Absolutely!"
I
So
like
yes,
it.
that's what we were doing. We were dancing to Christmas music
Fun
it,
stuff.
it feels like it. So this week, the awesome part is after we win the game tonight, we will have amazing temperature for the rest of the week, right?
Yeah, pretty much for the whole week long. I'm still working on the actual numbers. I haven't put them on there yet.
Oh, is this what you use?
Oh yeah, this is where I make the weather right here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, not everyone. I'm a little older than some meteorologists.
No.
So I know not everybody. So I still like write down the forecast on a piece of paper. And
Okay.
as you can see, we haven't quite got very far on the worksheet yet. We're still filling in a few blanks.
Yes, but so everything's looking pretty good though. Right?
Oh yeah.
Do you do other meteorologists here do sheets like this, or do you compare sheets?
Ramisha writes down a lot of stuff. I've never compared sheets. I mean, I look at the forecast from the meteorologist in front of me.
Right.
You
Got
know,
it.
for
Yeah,
Mike, I'll look at his forecast obviously,
Mhm.
and he's the chief, so I won't make any major changes
Right,
or
right,
anything
right.
to his forecast. But I might be 45 degrees in the morning. Maybe
Yes.
it's 46 degrees
Right.
in the morning. So,
So you make that adjustment.
maybe
that
like
way.
that.
So when it comes to the weather in the future, next 7 days, what are we looking at?
Well, the main thing to talk about is lack of rain.
Okay.
There will be less than a 10% chance of rain for the next 7 days. So that's pretty much not rain chances
Okay.
for 7 days. So that's a big deal. We certainly enjoy that, getting outside and being able to enjoy it. And the temperatures are going to be back in the 70s tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And again, a cool morning in the 40s. And then we'll kind of get into some comfortable 80s with some relatively lower humidity for the remainder of the week.
All right. Well, we'll have to see. The National Weather Service releases their drought monitor every Thursday.
That's
So
right.
we are going to see if that's going to have an effect, right?
Well, we certainly will be looking for that on Thursday. I think it'll be reasonable with the rains that we've gotten to be helpful. But yes, if we have too many days without that, we'll certainly be impacted.
All right. So far, everything's looking pretty good. Do we know anything about next week yet, or it's a little too soon?
7 days out, it's still good, though.
Yeah.
We're holding strong. I think it'll be a little drier than usual if you look at the long-term numbers. And we'll be warming back up into more 80s. This is a little unusual.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, and you can get back to filling out that sheet. Thank you for watching this edition of Live and Local. Go Cougars. Ooh. No, did you? All right.
I'm not even going to try. I don't.
We'll see you next time.